Hello and welcome back to NMP Talk Show. I'm your host, Neo Morapedi, and I'm truly grateful that you are joining me today because today's conversation is one of those conversations that touches every single one of us, no matter where we live, where what we do, or what we are going through. We are talking about mental health and the current global stories that are revealed about the state of emotional well-being in our world today. Mental health is no longer something happening somewhere else. It's really happening everywhere now. It's happening in our homes, it's happening in our workplaces, in schools, in hospitals, in silence. One of the most conversation or striking conversations that are happening in the world right now is about something we don't talk about nearly enough: the mental health of pregnant women and new mothers. Pregnancy is often portrayed as a time of joy, celebration, and new beginnings. But recent reports globally are showing a more complicated reality. Experts are warning that a significant number of women experience depression or anxiety during pregnancy or shortly after giving birth. And that is not a small number. And it is not something to dismiss as just hormones. This is real emotional distress. And what's even more heartbreaking is that some women face such overwhelming mental strain that suicidal thoughts become part of their conversation. Let that sink in. A season that should be filled with care becomes a season of loneliness for many. And we have to ask ourselves, how many mothers are smiling on the outside while quietly they are breaking down inside? How many are told to be strong, girl, when what they truly need is to be supported? Mental health or maternal mental health is not a luxury topic. It's life and death. It's family well-being. It's generational impact. Because when a mother suffers in silence, the whole household feels it. Another major theme in mental health news worldwide is the strain on mental health care system. Across the many countries, services are overwhelmed, under-resourced, and often overlooked. Recent reporting has highlighted serious concerns in psychiatric care environments, and they list issues like inadequate infrastructure, overwhelmed healthcare workers, limited resources, and vulnerable patients not receiving the dignity that they deserve. And this is where a conversation becomes uncomfortable because mental health patients are often treated as an afterthought. We don't always view mental illness the same way as we view physical illness. For instance, if someone breaks their leg now, what do? We all rush, right? But if someone breaks emotionally, society hesitates. We delay, we dismiss, we even stigmatize. But mental illness is just as real, is just as painful, just as urgent. So the question becomes, what does it say about us as a society? If the most vulnerable one among us is not adequately cared for, mental health care is not only about medication, it's about humanity. Yet another important story is emerging globally in connection between or the connection between mental health and chronic health conditions. You know, people living with long-term illnesses, they often face this increased risk of depression, anxiety, emotional isolation, and even suicidal thoughts. But too often, mental health support is not integrated into the routine medical care. People go in for physical treatment, but their emotional wounds remain unaddressed. And this is where we actually need to shift our thinking. You cannot separate the body from the mind. You can't treat someone fully while ignoring their inner world. So, living with chronic illness comes with stigma, it comes with stress, financial pressures, fear and loneliness. And if you want real help, mental health must be part of healthcare, not an optional extra. Now, amid all these heavy realities, there is hope because not all the news is dark. Across the world, communities are building initiatives that are focused on something simple but yet powerful: human connection. Programs bringing emotional support into hospitals, volunteers sitting with patients, counselors listening without judgment, safe spaces being created for people to speak openly. And it reminds us of something deeply important: that mental health care is not only clinical, it is relational. Sometimes what saves a life isn't a grand solution, but one person saying, I see you, I'm here. You don't have to carry this alone. I'm here with you. In a world that feels increasingly disconnected, connection becomes medicine. So, what do we take from all of this? The world is facing a mental health crossroads. We are seeing mothers struggling quietly, mental health system under strain, the emotional burden of chronic illnesses, and the growing need for compassion driven support. But this is not just a government issue. No, it's not just a healthcare issue, it's a human issue. Mental health is not their problem, it is our shared reality. Every family, every workplace, every community, every nation, we all play a role in whether someone feels safe enough to speak or they are forced to suffer in silence. As we wrap up today's episode, I want to leave you with few questions. Not quick questions, but deep questions. Questions worth sitting with. What kind of world are we building? If people feel that they must hide their pain to survive, how many people around you are saying, I'm fine, when they are anything but fine? What would change if mental health was treated with the same agency as physical health? And perhaps the most personal question of all, what can you do this week in your own small way to make someone feel less alone? Because sometimes the beginning of healing is simply being present. Thank you for spending these minutes with me today. This has been Naumurabedi, your host on NMP Talk Show. If this episode resonates with you, please share it with someone who may need it. And remember, taking care of your mind is not weakness, it is wisdom and strength. Until next time, be kind to yourself and be kind to others.